evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 12.
Today is going to be a new challenge, aside from being sent for. We're racing on the surface of the sun, apparently.
Heading down towards the main start line.
Maximizing that track just behind. That's exactly what we were talking about. That one corner. So critical to your lap time. You have to send it. Misses the apex curving there by a little bit.
Everybody's now bunched up, and you do not want that.
We wide now at the intersection 1 in the spot you really don't want to, but the fight's not over.
Still there on the inside, and the McLaren's still not going to give the place up.
And we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation. Welcome to the GT3 Team Series Season 13, Round 3 here at Misano International Circuit. I'm your host this evening, Big Daddy, joined in the booth this evening by Rob Warren and Ryan Van Epps. Rob and Ryan, how the heck are y'all doing this evening?
Doing pretty good tonight. Excited for some more exciting D4 action. Had some great first round action. Unfortunately, we missed the second round with y'all, so excited to be back for round 3 here. How you feeling, Rob?
I'm feeling great, guys. Yeah, we had round 2 at Watkins Glen. It was fantastic racing, lots of great battles, lots of early carnage. Hopefully we see a little bit more clean racing tonight, and those fantastic battles continue at Misano. It is a great track.
Yeah, this is usually tends to be a fan favorite track here. Real high speeds, fast corners, makes for some really good door-to-door racing. Got some interesting things tonight. A couple D5 guys moved up into D4, and I think we lost a couple D4 guys into D3 even. And looking at the race leaderboard here, or the hot lap leaderboard for practice, Aaron Anderson sitting in P2 overall in the hot laps. He's actually a D5 driver that just got bumped up, so to be sitting that high up on the leaderboard is a little exciting. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what Aaron can do here in D4.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of a practice session earlier this evening, and Anderson was absolutely flying. There are a couple of guys who were close, but only just a couple. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what he can put together this evening for us.
It'll be interesting to see too what level of car, or which cars perform best here at Misano. Right now, looking at the leaderboard, it looks like it's mainly the powerhouse front-engine V8s dominating the leaderboard. In the top 5 of those top 5, only one is a rear-engine downforce car. The rest of them are all AMGs, Mustangs, and Lexuses in the top 5. So maybe those mid-engine, rear-engine guys can shine tonight.
Yeah, the cars like the McLaren at this track with multiple high-speed straightaways, losing on that top-end speed, definitely is going to be a struggle for some of these slower cars. The Mustang, the Lexus, I don't think there's any GTRs in here, but if there are, they're all going to shine here tonight with these high-speed straights, knowing that they kind of can, you know, give a little bit in the corners, knowing that they can gain some on those long straights here. So it should be an interesting night tonight.
Yeah, and on that note, I think let's take a quick look at the track map just so everyone can get a better sense of what we're talking about here. We've got a couple of long straights here. The start-finish straight here going into turn 1 is pretty, you're going through that in at least 3rd, if not 4th gear, depending on the exact car, through turn 16. So you're already coming out onto that straight with some speed, and you can really push the limits on the outside, left-hand outside of the track for corner entry into T1, so you can really carry a ton of speed into that, but you don't want to carry too much, otherwise you really sacrifice a lot going into turn 2 and then 3. And then again, coming out of T10, you've got a massive straight with a very gentle right-hand turn 11, and 12 is where things get a little bit tricky, as the rear of the car tends to unweight right under braking, and some of the cars like to snap around a little bit more. And then you do have to be careful with track limits around several parts of the track, as much as they're very inviting because there's a lot of places where the runoff is paved. There are a lot of places where as soon as you touch the, as soon as you get your inside wheels a little too far out, that's a track warning. And it's usually a numbered warning here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think tonight one of the things we're going to see is we're going to see a couple drive-throughs for sure. Trying to not get a drive-through at this track is definitely a challenge. And if we don't see drive-throughs, one thing you won't notice as a viewer, and only the drivers will know, but if you're running that third track limit and you're fighting to not get a drive-through, you might have to, you know, slow your pace down, which can really make racing quite interesting for some of these front runners if they fighting for that track limit to not get a drive-through here.
Absolutely. Rob, if I'm not mistaken, you've had a bit of success here at this track. It's a track that's not traditionally been strong for me, but if I remember correctly, and I may not, the opposite's true for you, isn't it?
You know, generally this track has been hit or miss for me. It is a track that I do enjoy. It is quite flat and flowy. Lots of fun high-speed corners. And longer braking zones to set up for. Lots of great passing opportunities. If you get a good run out of one of those corners, you can really get a run on somebody else, and especially down that back turn 10, 12, and 13. If you set up just right, you can take quite a few spots down that back section. So watch out for that. Also, something else to watch out for is cars that spin out on one of those higher speed sections. Rejoining on that back section is really hairy, and I have had an incident where personally a car pulled out in front of me while I was coming down one of those high speed sections, and it did not end well for either of us.
Gotcha. Yeah, unfortunately this is a track that does encourage some, we'll say, very bold maneuvers. I think starting to see the first cars cycle out onto track right now for qualifying. So
Could not agree more on the on that bold strategy statement. If you're gonna make a pass here, it's gonna be a dangerous one. It's such high speed corners. It's so hard to find a good spot to pass where you're not kind of having to send it a little bit. So
yeah, it really is. And the other part of this too is because there aren't a ton of curves that'll really upset you. That'll upset the car, so it's easy to go and use every little bit of track that is there, which, you know, just kind of exacerbates the problem a little bit. So I'm hoping everyone will keep it clean, drive sensibly this evening. At the end of the day, this is still only round 3. We're coming up on the midpoint of the season, but really still, kind of like Suzuka, you don't want to use your throwaway race early. Your drop race.
yeah, we'll once qualifying is done here, we'll throw the standings up onto the screen so everybody can see what we're looking at here. I believe for these silver drivers, we should be looking in the probably mid 34 to high 34 good quality time.
I think that's about right. But man, my frame of reference is so skewed now, just because I'm so used to you know, like 35s being kind of like a D4 time.
Yeah, I'd say looking at the hot lap leaderboard here, it's looking like lower end of the silver drivers probably be in the 35s, but top end of the top 5 of the silver drivers, we should be looking for a high 34 to mid 34s.
Yeah, the group as a whole has gotten quite a lot faster, so it's just always kind of skews my perspective on what a certain division's times generally are going to be.
Another thing to add in to this to make this race interesting, if you notice, we're at 32 degree air temperature and 39 degree track temperature, so it is a scorcher of a race out there. So that adds into a whole nother factor of pit strategy when it comes to tire degradation. How many of these guys have actually run full stints to find out how long will their tires last, when do they need to pit, how long can they squeeze a set of tires out in these high temps. So pit strategy is going to be coming to a big play here tonight to find out who can drive the longest stint, to be honest, on bad tires, because towards the end of your first stint and towards the end of the race, you're gonna start losing them. It's just there's no getting around that with these high temps.
Absolutely, and we'll be curious as well to see what happens with the overcut versus the undercut here. If one's better than the other, I could see, and I don't have any sort of empirical data on this, I could see the undercut being pretty strong here, just because you're not, if you can gain anything in the pits, you're not having to try and make a risky move on someone to get a position.
Correct.
We're seeing.
I mean, I can attest to the undercut for sure because I got undercut last night, got pole, ran first stint, led the whole race, and then got undercut into the pits and came out about a half a second behind, hoping I could have some, you know, my strategy was to hopefully have some tires by the end of the race where he would lose some, and we both just ended up losing tires at the end, and the undercut worked for him great. So maybe we'll see someone try to pull some undercuts tonight, and hopefully it works out for them.
Could be, especially if you're able to manage your tires. I think that really brings that into viability. And we're watching the cars come around and set their first laps, and Anderson straight to the top by 0.8.
I love to see that. I was racing with him in D5 last week or last race, and seeing that he's right up there fighting with the D4 guys his first weekend with D4 is just really awesome to see. I think I got some big things for him coming up here in this rest of the season.
Yeah, if he's doing this well, and granted this could be just a stronger track for him and the Mustang, but 0.8 suggests that that's more than just that.
Yeah, already running a low 34 is very surprising, with your second place sitting at a 134.7 right now as he crosses the line of JP Johnston. So, I mean, still Anderson having quite a big gap to P2.
Yeah, half a second. It looks like Giordano improves a little bit, just over half a second off. Still looking at a little over a second for Kyle Cumber, although he is improving. We are about to see, looks like we may be seeing some good improvement from GB3.
Yeah, up
Super nice.
5 tenths, almost 6 tenths.
Yep, I remember racing against GB3 back all the way in season 6 of SRA, and he was a challenge to battle with, but always a very clean, very respectful racer. Love seeing him back. He took a little bit of a hiatus, and yeah, looking forward to seeing him back. He was in the Aston. When I raced against him, I want to say he stayed in it the last time he was here. He's in the BMW now though, and we'll check back in with him in a second, but he's currently about 0.3 up. We're looking at Jacob Hall in another BMW here, about half a second up as well. Looks like he's a little bit earlier in his lap though. And we've got Rosenthal coming up a little bit later here in his lap. Currently sitting about going to be seeing about a full second improvement. Should bump him up to,
I'll get him almost to P7, I believe.
kind of what I'm thinking. As long as he can hold that anyways.
Yep, he's still got quite a few turns to make.
Yeah, just a handful. And that
Taft
corner,
pulling out of the way for him.
that corner that he just went through there, turn 14, it makes 12 and 13 more tricky, because if you lose the rear end and you cut across the track to rejoin, I've seen it count as a couple of track cuts at once.
Yep, I've seen a DQ there before.
Yeah, it's always heartbreaking, and Rosenthal's going to improve up to P8 and immediately get bumped to P9. That's a bummer to see. Hall is still about 0.6 up, so that'll be a good improvement. Should put him up P3.
Anderson improving his pole time by another 2 tenths, so he's up to a 134.0 now.
He might need to chill out just a little bit. We're looking at this. We might see Anderson get promoted up to D3 after this race.
D3 driver for sure. D4 gold. He's sitting. You know, when you get moved from one division up one, they're gonna start you off in silver, but I think they're gonna bump him up to gold pretty quick.
Yeah, I could see that. Although, you know, I don't know. They could leave him in silver. Although they bumped him up after round 2 instead of round 3, so they may bump him up. Seeing some
Like
strong
Travis. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Seeing some good improvement
I said Travis there, and then I commentated and cursed him anyways. So.
Oh man, you hate to see it. We've got Matisse coming up here on the end of his lap. 7/10 up basically. So that'll be a little bit of an improvement for him. Should give him a few more spots up to P12.
Very nice.
Love to see it. GB3 a little bit down on his time. A lot down on his time. Looks like he might have gotten a little closer than he wanted and to the car in front and decided just to kind of abort that lap, give himself a little more space for this one. Lacey looking at a bit of an improvement, although it looks like he just bled out a little bit of the time there. I don't like when I commentator curse people. It's not,
It's such a bad feeling.
It's one of those things in my heart. I know that the mistake was going to happen anyways. Whatever happened was already in process.
𝐂𝐽𝐫𝐢𝐵's up 3/10 on his lap right now, coming into the last corner. If he can hold that, that'll get him a few spots.
It looks like he will actually make up a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
a few hundreds.
P9 to P5. Great run there for Kyle. He's got about one more lap left in him to see if he can improve just a little bit more.
Yep.
Travis Tatro up 2/10 coming into his last corner here. Bleeding a little bit of time off. If he can get a good run out of here, he'll get a few spots. Gets a good exit out of that last corner. And Tatro up to P12.
Taft will be coming across with a good improvement as well. But should only 15th or 16th? 16th. We're watching GB3 come across. He is going to improve, but not quite enough to take pole.
Yeah, it's he'd really have to be pushing it to get pole. I mean, he's only off by 1/10, unfortunately, but
not even 6,300.
Yeah,
yep. 63 thousandths.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a stellar time. Certainly, that's one that he can be proud of and should not be disappointed in.
Absolutely. I mean, that's going to keep him up pretty high, and even when the gold guys go out and start running their laps, that's going to keep him pretty high up in the order.
Absolutely, it will. Let's see.
As the gold drivers starting to make their way out on track right as we speak.
Yep.
You know, it's nice to see Giordano up there in the NSX again. Definitely not a very popular choice within the Team Series, as it is an older car, and had kind of gotten bopped out of competitiveness by Kunos, but he's making the most of it. He did pretty well last week, finished 9th at Watkins Glen, so hopefully we'll see him up there in the top 10 again this week.
Absolutely. The NSX was first car I really spent any meaningful amount of time with here in ACC. It's a fun car and it's an amazing learning tool. You have to be very precise with your inputs on it. You have to really learn the art of doing some maintenance throttle and really kind of dancing around the pedals while you're driving it. It is a fun car, but yeah, it's for an hour-long race. Certainly it isn't impossible, but it is a little bit of a tough ask. And I get why other people don't drive it. But with that said, I love that he's out here in it. I wish we saw a few more of them.
Absolutely. You love to see a little nice different order to the grid, but also just love to see someone wanting a challenge for themselves. You know, you could pick a better car, but if you really want to push your skills, trying out these cars that, you know, are known to not be the best. And not only is he pushing his skills to test himself, but he's showing that it's possible. You know, even with the slower car, not so great of a car, it is possible. And so I love to see it.
Absolutely. You could drive a better car, like you said, like, you know, the Bentley. As we know, Bentley car, best car.
Bentley car,
I have a
best
feeling
car.
you're slightly biased about that.
What? No, I am absolutely not biased with the Bentley logo at the front of that.
I will say though, the Bentley at this track, I have high hopes for due to the fact that it does have an insane straight line speed. So could be interesting for the Bentley boys out there today.
It's not the fastest in a straight line, but it does a really good job of putting the power down.
The Bentley kind of gets the best of both worlds. It's got a higher top speed than a lot of other cars, but it does seem a little bit less squirrely out of the corners than like the Lexus. The Lexus is a little bit sharper than the Bentley to drive, but man, that Lexus is like a rocket ship on the straightaways. It would at Paul Ricard, you're just like, you can have somebody in your draft and still be pulling away from them. And the Bentley too. The Bentley, you can just kind of motorboat away from people on some of these long tracks. So definitely interesting to see how those work out in traffic.
That's why I drive the GTR personally, and I loved it at this track that on these back straightaways, I could get a little bit of a comfortable gap every time from the guy behind me, just with that little bit better top speed. It definitely is a nice feeling to have, but you know, you lose a little bit in the corners, so.
Yeah, but it does make racing a little bit easier, because you really just got to make sure you control the corner entry. And after that, there's not much they can do. I remember, and this goes going back to the Bentley, racing at Red Bull Ring in season 10, I think that was. And I was racing with Martin Smith in D4 here. And he was in the R8, and he'd get right up alongside me going into turn, 2, 3, that sharp right at the top of the hill. And by the time you get to the next turn, I've got 3 lengths on him, because the Bentley it hooks up so well. It makes racing a little bit easier. It is a little bit of an unfair advantage, admittedly.
Just a little bit. She's still waiting for some.
But hey, if you're not interpreting the rules favorably, are you really racing?
Hey, you gotta get what you can get. Still waiting to see some drivers get into the top 5 for these gold drivers.
Well, we're starting to see Garrity just threw up a P10 time, but he's still 8/10ths off of Anderson's lap. And they are halfway through the gold stint.
These silver drivers really put down some times. The top 10 they really threw down some solid lap times.
Yeah, these are certainly, it's not going to be insurmountable, as we see Griswold and the Mustang climbing up into P7 here.
Looking a little bit further down the leaderboard, it looks like Moffitt, as he crosses the line, is going to be in the top 10. Got a few more guys here seeing good deltas on, so we may see them continue to move up as they get a little bit more comfortable and get some grip in these tires here.
For sure. I see Sean Williams also snuck into P10 in the gold. One of our gold drivers. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Williams one of our podiums at Suzuka opening round?
He was. He came P2, or no, he was, because he was the one that went for the really long first stint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the we were so confused about the call to go with that long first stint, and it actually played out for him very well, and he took the win at Suzuka.
Yeah, it worked out extremely well for him.
I believe Justin Moffitt is our current. Yes, he is our current leading or P1 for this overall standings.
Yeah, and I remember Go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say another thing to mention about Moffitt's time is I'm seeing that he had the fastest Sector 2 on that last lap, so he's definitely got something in the tank. We'll see if he can continue to move up the leaderboard here in that Mustang.
Yeah, just under a full 10th faster than Anderson through Sector 2. But he looks like he is going to get jumped by Sean Williams.
You say that, and he took it right back. He's now sitting 4th place with a 34.4, so he's clearly got something in the tank. Another thing is Anderson also is in a Mustang up there on the pole, so maybe that's the car to go with for this track.
It certainly does seem to be a stronger car here.
It is one of those. It is one of those cars you don't want to see behind you, especially when you're. If they can close that gap coming into that right-hander onto that back straight, if they're right on your bumper, it's just a spot you don't want to be in when they put that power down.
Seeing a big delta from Williams here, as high as 4/10 up on his current lap, and that would be good enough to put him into third place if he did do that. So definitely need to keep an eye on him as him and Moffitt go back and forth for the highest silver spot.
Now I'm watching music. He was half a second up. It looks like he's gonna just improve by 2/10. Take a look at Williams will be coming across the line here shortly, but looks like if he can nail this last corner. Now it looks like he's bleeding it off. So is Moffat. Not a ton of improvement that I'm seeing right now.
It does look like we had the track temperature go up another degree. It's now 40 degrees Celsius, so maybe a little bit of temperature increase as more cars go around the track is making it difficult for these gold drivers to put down fast times.
It could be. I didn't take note of what the track conditions were at the start of the session, though. I think I remember seeing when I loaded into one of the practice sessions that it started out as fast. I didn't notice if the silvers were doing those times on that, which if they are, that's demoralizing. Yeah. Demoralizing at best.
I mean, these silver drivers in the top 5, top 10 even, are. I am impressed. They really showed out tonight. That's for sure.
No doubt, and be curious to see how many laps each of them did of practice. See if it's just a difference in that in prep, or if maybe the split classification isn't as perfect as it could be.
Yeah, we might see some adjustments to that. To the gold-silver split here after usually round 3 is when they start to make adjustments to division and class. I know Henry Ramirez will probably be bumped up to gold if is he here tonight?
I haven't seen his name.
He's not here. That is your P2 overall.
I believe he may be otherwise engaged for this evening.
Well, it's looking like Aaron Anderson, coming from his D5 in his first D4 race of the season, is going to take pole position
in the silver.
You know, it's
split.
funny to see Moffitt in 4th place in the qualifying standings, because that was also his position in the hot lap board. Out of the D4 drivers, he is also 4th place. So that's some good consistency.
Yeah.
He put down a best time of 34.2 on the hot lap leaderboard, so not too far off his best time in qualifying here with the 34.4.
All right, I'm not seeing a ton of improvements except for Dutton. Although as I clicked him, it looks like he gave up a bit of that gain that he had. Looks like he's showing...
Getting a little bit of a back.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, gained 2/10 to the last turn.
3/10 almost.
Wow.
So that'll bump him up into the top 10. There we go.
Huge improvement for Steven Dutton on the last turn.
Absolutely it was.
That is going to wrap up your Division 4 qualifying for Misano as we wait for them to grid up here.
I think we'll take a look at the standings during formation lap, but I think this would be a great opportunity to hear a word from our sponsors.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from 𝐷ocumise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to 𝐷ocumise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American-based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT 3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specializing in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
All right, and that is... Thank you for the word from our lovely sponsors and the lovely voice of 𝐂𝐸𝐳 over in D3. Drivers are heading out right now onto the formation lap. Take a quick look at the team standings first. We've got Team Lake Effect currently sitting on 200 points, which is a very strong entry. That's Kevin Johnson and Rob Moorhead in the Mercedes. If I'm not mistaken, the only Mercedes here on the field. And I don't... Looks like, yeah, 15th and 19th for quali, so this could be a tougher race for them. Got Better Call Steve. Of the two Steves in the Ferrari at 156 points, a very close battle here for second place in the points. With Better Call Steve, Crazy Rabbits Racing, and Race X Esports, all within a 6-point gap from each other. Another close battle between the OBDA, my boys, Castle and Cauldron Esports, with Stefan Buckley and Raph Cab in the Lexus. Baseline Racing Turbo Time of Alex Giordano and Landon P, sitting at 129 points, just behind Castle and Cauldron. Dark Horse Renegades in the Mustang at 126 points. Champion Motorsports in the McLaren at 124. A Baseline Racing Team Secret Santas with Caleb Tenney and Spencer Taft sitting at 122 points. So another really close battle there. Blind Babushkas of Hesham Rimsk and Stephen Dutton rounding out the top 10 with 115. Let's see, and Red Eye Racing in the Audi with 107. Also in with a shout. We'll take a quick look over at the driver standings. Justin Moffat currently leading the overall points, tied with Henry Ramirez, who's our silver driver actually, both sitting at 111 overall. Kevin Johnson and Rob Moorhead both sitting at 100 points even. Justin Griswold at 93 in P5. Steven Music at 92 points, so pretty heavily gold dominated up towards the front of this field. So maybe these splits do make a little bit more sense than the quali would suggest here at Misano. Let's see, Kyle Cumber, Planey Racing in the McLaren at 85 points. Sean Williams in P8. Stephen Dutton P9. Eric Rudder in P10. And we are going to take a look at the track because we are getting ready to go green here just momentarily.
Yeah. Cars have double filed up, coming around the last bend here. Nerves are starting to build up in these drivers. Everyone's itching to go. This is the moment when everybody's, you know, trying to get those nerves calm and undercollected as you come into prepare to come into that first turn here. And we are green for round 3, Division 4 at Misano. GB3 gets a great jump off the start.
Absolutely.
Might take the first position spot from Anderson there, and he does. Makes it stick. Anderson falls back into P2. The BMW of GB3 taking that P1 spot right off the bat. Jacob Hall, sorry, falling back into P3 right on the bumper of Anderson there. As the field starts to filter into place, seems like we had a pretty clean start. Quite a few starts from the pit I see here as they're all starting to roll out of the pit, so some work ahead for those guys.
Absolutely, and pit exit here is a lengthy procedure, so that is tough. This is a tough race to have a pit lane start on.
So far, it seems like we're having ourselves a pretty clean first lap. Love to see it. Made a clean first corner
so far, but I'm still holding my breath because as we get to turns 12, 13, 14, those are dangerous corners just in general, even, you know, halfway through the race. Cars bunched up like this, that could get dicey. Especially with these larger groups in the back where we see a couple of people still going 2, almost 3 wide in some places.
That's sketchy.
You got the leaders still holding on to the first place there as they round the last few turns here. Seems like everyone's filing through a little bit.
Come off.
Looks like that's Madison.
Looks like he had a little solo off there.
Dropping back about 5 positions there.
Yeah, especially in the Bentley. I hate to see it, but fingers crossed. Everyone's gotten through lap 1 okay. Maybe a little bit of bumping and banging, but nothing too bad.
Anderson's definitely not letting GB3 go there. He's all over the bumper of him.
Yeah, well, he's got to stay in attack mode because having raced GB3, granted he's been on a little hiatus and I don't know how much he's been driving. He's a good defender. He's a tough one to race against. Although that legs on the Mustang are gonna give him some trouble. Little bump.
Gives GB3 a little tap. They're able to hold it together. Got a little overzealous there with that speed of that Mustang. He seems like he's going to stay real close with him here. Can he get a good enough exit to put that power down on the Mustang to run that BMW down? I mean, he's got pressure from behind as well from Sean Williams here, and Sean Williams got pressure behind from Moffitt, so nobody's in a safe spot right now. Everybody's either fighting for a position in front or fighting to hold a position behind.
Yeah, and we're still in the early parts of the race here, so it's expected.
As makes a move on the inside of GB3, and Sean Williams decides to follow him through. Sean Williams, Anderson's door to door. Anderson's able to hold that spot. GB3 is able to hold on to P3 off of Moffitt there. As Cumber makes a move on Moffitt on the inside, coming down into the last turn. Going to go door to door into turn 1. Moffitt has got the outside here.
Cumber stuck his head and said, "Don't forget about me, guys. I'm still here. I still want a piece of this action." They're getting really dicey here up in the top 5.
Yeah, they are not wasting any time. That is that's one thing that happens when one person makes a move. It opens the door for a lot of other people to try to follow through. As Garrity makes a move here on Griswold.
Yeah, I was just about to say I saw that closing up right there. He's not
getting it back. Griswold's able to hold on to that position off Garrity.
And Garrity's going to have to defend against Johnston coming down the straight.
They are 2 wide all the way through the back of this battle here. Garrity's back on the inside of Griswold.
It's a good launch.
Wants that spot, but Griswold's going to have the inside and going to have that Mustang power to be able to get him down that straightaway.
Yeah.
Griswold outbreaks him though. Or Garrity, sorry.
Oh, and Garrity forces him to slot in behind Dutton there. Oh, that was a great move from Garrity.
Great move by Garrity. Going around the outside of Dutton as Dutton goes a little bit slower through there and forces Griswold to have to check up a little bit. Williams looking on the inside of Anderson. Making the pass stick for right now. Have a little bit of contact, but Anderson will have the inside corner. And we'll have the inside one more time. And Williams makes the pass on Anderson.
Anderson's going to come right back, though. He's got the legs on the Mustang, too, and that's going to make this really tough for Williams to defend.
They are fighting for that P1 spot early on.
Yep.
Williams looks like he's able to kind of make it stick and give himself a little bit of breathing room, but right behind Anderson, Moffitt, and GB3 and Cumber there all battling. This is a top 5 battle for early on in the race.
Absolutely. The issue for Williams is he's almost going to want to kind of try to back up Anderson, push him into Moffat, and try to get them battling, but can't do too much about that with how many high-speed parts are here at Misano.
This is
backs him up, he's just going to get past.
Exactly. This is exactly what I was talking about. Williams right now has 2 Mustangs on him coming into a long straightaway. This is not a spot he wants to be in a McLaren, as Anderson looks to the inside, gives tap. Can he hold it together? He's able to hold it together. Great save by him. Anderson gave him a little bit of a spin there. Looked like he's giving the position back. Good on Anderson.
Yep.
Gave the spot back. Unfortunately, that loses him a few spots, but gentlemanly racing there, giving the spot back. That's gonna put Anderson way back and give him a little bit of work to do, but we know he's got the pace that he should be able to get back up in that fight soon.
Yeah, he started on pole. The only tough part is you got to get around him, and that's a little bit different than setting a fast lap time, but Mustang seems to be strong here so far.
You know, one other thing I gotta mention, guys. Looks like Mr. Booster Ski down there in 34th place. He's set our fastest time of 1:35.6 already. I think he's one of the ones that had to start from the pits. So definitely want to keep an eye on him and see how he makes his way up through the pack with a fast time like that. Nobody else. Maybe one other person even touching the 35s right now. So that's a pretty fast time this early in the race.
Absolutely it is. And granted, he doesn't have any traffic in front of him yet, so that'll help. But that's still a solid time, especially knowing that he is on full fuel. He has to be, since there's no refueling here. 992 is a fun car here at Misano as well. So, should be a strong performance. But yeah, good to see that he's throwing down some heaters early.
We got Moffitt leading the race now. GB3 following close behind. Cumber right behind him. Jacob Hall in P4, and Sean Williams was able to hold on to a P5 after his incredible save, to be honest.
Those guys are all very close together as Giordano goes around.
And that's the trouble with the NSX. That rear end likes to swap around if you don't have just the right amount of gas under braking. Referred to the Ryan Yee PowerPoint on driving. That's the NSX right there.
And that really cost him quite a few spots. He's dropped back to 15th. Looks like something happened to Tinney down there. He's dropped all the way to 31st. He was up there higher up. We've got some other stuff going on. Johnston as well dropping back through the field. Looks like he's sitting off to the side. So
oh man,
quite a lot going on here as we get 10 minutes into the race. People are getting a little comfortable trying to make some moves, but I think it's a little early to be getting that gutsy.
Yeah, unfortunately it's the crux of all this is you got to make your moves early so that you can stay up with the front of the pack and hopefully check out. But
unfortunately, looking back at Tenney's incident here, for anybody wondering, he lost it, a solo spin coming into the 13, and then got a little assist on the rest of his spin around by another driver who couldn't avoid him.
Oh man, you hate to see it. Hate to see it, hate to hear it.
I mean, usually, you know, these starts, usually top 3, first, second, maybe they usually start to run away early on, and then, you know, because they got free track in front of them, and P1, P2 they can run off for a little bit, and then there's usually a bigger train, P3 to P5 behind them. As Moffitt spins out, and Beverly makes a little bit of contact with his car as it was stopped there. Not sure what happened to Moffitt there, but that puts GB3 into P1. Made a little bit of contact with the stopped car of Moffitt there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. GT3 currently with the fastest lap of the race, though, at a 35.5. Actually, I take that back, a 35.3 for his fastest.
I will say I see Anderson put down an invalid 34.9, so there is pace. These guys are picking it up as we start to get a little bit further into this race. The tires are now scrubbed in, fuel's coming down.
Yep.
So,
well, and the scary part is it might have been invalid, but he's running that at a high fuel load because we're only 10.5 minutes in.
Moffitt coming into the second to last turn just took a little bit too much of those sausage curbs. Car got unsettled and he ended up just losing the car, unfortunately.
You want to cut it as much as you can, but if you cut it just even a little too much, it'll bounce you something fierce.
But yeah, like I was saying, usually the like P1 and P2 run off early on, but seeing this much battle between
jump back to Beverly. He's dropping down through the field.
Looks
like we've had an incident up front.
As he's
Williams dropping back as well. Anderson dropping back as well. Oh no!
Oh. Yeah, GB3's
cars everywhere.
GB3's just in a rough spot. He got tapped a couple of times. Is that right in between 13 and 14? I couldn't quite catch exactly how he got there. I'm assuming the rear end just kind of stepped out on him. He's going to go ahead and elect to take his pit stop here.
So that's handed Cumber the lead now. Williams up there in third place. Moffitt's still hanging on, but most of our guys that have been running top 5 early for the first 10 minutes of this race now gone.
Yeah, and Cumber sitting here with a 3-second lead over Hall in P2. Man.
Yeah, it looks like GB3 lost it into Solo, losing it into turn 13, just a typical losing the brakes over it, and then made a little bit of his stopped car made a little bit of contact with Aaron Anderson, which spun Anderson, and then it was just disaster from there. Took out a few more cars. And
yeah, unfortunately, where his car came to rest, and he did a great job of holding his brakes from what I saw. Came to rest right in the middle of the racing line, and there was no way for folks to really avoid him.
I mean, that's such a high-speed turn that you come around that turn and there's someone just stopped on the racing line. There's only so much you could do.
Yeah, because 13's a fourth gear corner. Fourth gear on throttle.
I got to give it to Williams. His driving tonight, he got spun, got pit maneuvered, made an amazing save coming to the back straight, and then coming into that incident with GB3 there, came around the corner, saw him sitting there, went wide, but a BMW in front of him of Jacob Hall went wide with him, and he had to avoid the BMW as well. Great driving by Sean Williams for trying to just fight to stay alive out here.
Absolutely. Well, you know, to finish first, your first must finish. And Williams, I've seen him race a bit. He's solid, man.
Yeah, I mean, we saw his races at Suzuka, and he put down an incredible performance there. So
absolutely,
they do have some. They got some time to make up on Cumber up there.
I just saw a stop go 30 from car 231.
GB3.
No.
That is rough.
I think he's giving up.
I think so too.
I believe he's calling the race. I mean, there's no coming back from that. You had a crash. You drop all the way through the field. Have to pit early, which means you're gonna have a second pit for tires, and with this long pit road here, lost so much time already, and then you get a stop go 30. That's basically the end of your race.
Yeah, I mean, he could probably make it work if he had to, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is his first race back. I don't know if he's planning on running the entire season or if he's popping in just kind of as he's able to, but he already missed the first 2 races, so he burned up his drop race essentially round 1, and then 0 points for round 2. I think he probably just
yep.
You know, there's no championship advantage point for him. So
Sean Williams made his way around Jacob Hall there. Next in his sight, Kyle Cumber with a about 2-second gap in front of him. From what we've seen from Williams, he should be able to run that gap down a little bit and make it a little bit interesting for Cumber up there.
I don't think there's any way he doesn't, because it was a 3-second gap to 𝐂�0𝐫𝐢𝐥𝐿 and even battling Hall. They've already cut it down by a full second in the matter of a lap.
Yep, and now we got Moffat looking at Jacob Hall in front of him.
Hopefully that'll give Williams a little bit of breathing room as he starts to pull away from Hall. He's cutting that gap down on 𝐂�0𝐫𝐢𝐥𝐿 quick and putting a good gap on Hall, getting away from those two battling back there. So with Hall distracted by Moffat, he can go full attack mode. We've still got Foster in the mix back there as well, only less than a second back from Moffat. So still a couple cars battling here up front, but we're starting to see a few people break out here. Further down the field, we've got battles between 10th, 11th, and 12th of Johnston, Rosenthal, and GTG. Otherwise, our top 10 is still has gotten pretty spread out with all these incidents.
Well, and this is a really good opportunity for Moffat to capitalize on championship points. Johnston is P3 in points overall, but he's P2 in the Gold Championship. So if Moffat can recover, put himself up into at least a podium, if not maybe P2, maybe even contend for a win, that would be a good jump for him with Johnston sitting back here in 11th.
Got 𝐉𝐨𝐽𝐳 trying to make a move on Thomas Greer here back in P22, all over the back of him, but also trying to hold off Steven Music here.
Yeah, Greer's a strong driver, he's a good defender, and he's one of my OBDA boys, so you know I gotta root for him.
That Mustang all over the back of Hassam 𝐉𝐨𝐽𝐳 here, putting down that Mustang power that the McLaren just cannot keep up with. And he makes the pass stick on 𝐉𝐨𝐽𝐳 there.
Let's see, is that
I don't believe that is a blue flag, I believe.
Okay, that's what I thought, because that's
I believe
that's
he's a left
Anderson, isn't it?
down. That is Anderson. Yep, you're correct. As he makes a move here.
Yeah, so he's
or
just
looking to make a move.
So he's just trying to unlap himself right now.
Yep. Which we know he's got pace. We know he's fast. He'll be able to make himself. He should be able to unlap himself at some point, hopefully, and try to get back into at least some points here.
Yeah, and Greer
gets around.
Greer
knows.
He knows that Anderson was the pole sitter. He knows he's got pace on him. He's not going to fight him. He's going to let him go. He knows it's not for position, probably, too.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where if you know somebody behind you is faster, honestly, sometimes the smart thing to do is let them go and then try to pace them. Follow their lines and try to keep up with them. Sometimes it'll actually pull you along a little bit faster.
Yep. Well, and it helps. If he fights, he's just going to end up losing a little bit of time that he's gained on 𝐉𝐶 in P23. So it makes a lot more sense for him just to let him go. And that's exactly what he's done. Great move from him. So we're looking at, looks like Johnston might be trying to set up a move here on GTG.
Yep.
Get up into the top 10, cover some championship points. Looks like his teammate Rob Moorhead's in P9 already. Starting from, what, P15 and 17 or 15 and 19? If I remember right.
I believe you are correct.
So good recoveries from them. Holds that.
Looking on the inside. He's got pressure from behind.
Yeah. Mercedes is pretty good in a straight line.
Yep. He's looking at the inside here on GTG. Makes the pass stick. Hopefully GTG can hold it together, not lose any more positions from behind. Gets a better exit on that corner there. Johnson should be able to hold it coming into this long straight here. He's got the inside.
Oh, and that's going to let Rosenthal close up and have a cheeky little look. And Giordano looming right back there as well. He's going to be eager to make up those positions after his solo spin in 13.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where when you have this many cars close to you, you don't want to let a car by, because if you let one by, it means you're off the racing line most likely, and that means probably another one's going to get through. So you're really, really trying to make your car as wide as possible within the limits of the rules here.
Back up front, we've got Williams has passed 𝐂�0𝐫𝐢𝐥𝐿 for the lead now. Moffat has also gotten around Hall, so Moffat is now on the charge to take down that 2-second gap and catch up to 𝐂𝐶𝐵�0𝐫𝐿 and Williams. So as our battle for the top 3 progresses, We'll see if the V8 power of that Mustang can catch up to Cumber-Williams and give them a run for their money, or if the McLarens will just run away with this.
And seems like Jacob Hall is also under pressure by Steve Foster here, who's also under pressure by Stephen Dutton. So nobody's safe in this spot right here. Everyone's fighting for that about that P5 position.
Yeah, there's a lot of good battling going on right now.
Matt Mattisey in P16 looking to make a move on Rudderham on the inside. Looks like he's gonna make the pass stick with that Bentley.
Yes, you'll love to see it.
Bentley boys moving up in the field.
Looks like that was Taft going pretty deep there to turn 10.
Coming into turn 13 with Rosenthal, GTG, and Giordano as they're very close. Tough corner to be bumper to bumper in. Everybody brakes differently there, and it's a high speed. Giordano makes a look on the inside there. Doesn't quite have it. Trying to make that NSX work for him. We're about coming into the 38-minute mark here, coming close up onto the halfway point. This is where, you know, you're coming to the end of your first stint here, and I'm sure these guys are starting to feel their tires with these hot temperatures. You can see some of them starting to get a little bit loose in the corners, and it's coming down to who can hold on to these bad tires as long as possible without having to pit. Now, are we looking at Suzuka from when me and you were here? Do you believe Sean Williams is going to go for another almost 50-minute stint with his high temps, or do you think he's going to try to play it safe and go in a little earlier?
I would think he would go in a little earlier, but I mean, unless my memory's failing me, he basically just went long at Suzuka just because the tires were still doing okay. So it wasn't really any need to.
Looks like Giordano made the move there on Rosenthal.
Yep.
He's got a GTG in his sights up next. Coming too wide into turn 13 here. Makes the move on GTG.
You know, it definitely seems like Williams is conducive to that later pit stop. He stopped pretty late at Watkins Glen as well. Looks like on lap 23 of a 34 lap race, so well past the halfway point at Watkins Glen as well, so expect to see another long stint in the clean air up front there from Williams.
Yeah.
He finished 4th place at Watkins Glen, so definitely somebody to keep an eye on as a front
Rafael
runner.
Cabrera making a move here on Scott Johnston, I believe that was, making the pass stick on him back in P27.
Love to see it. Raf's another one of my OBDA boys. Just love to see him making moves.
He loves that Lexus. He is a Lexus driver.
Looks like we've got our first takers on pit road, Robichaud and Mattisey into the pits for their stop. So people already starting to take advantage of that pit stop. Curious to see how this works out, as they're now going to have a longer second half stint, and their tires will be gone by the end of this race.
Well, you say that. The Bentley tends to be kind on tires, though. I don't remember offhand, though, what we are looking at for a BOP on the Bentley here at Misano. Does it have a ton of weight off? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. It's minus 40 kgs. I think it's going to be a little bit kinder on the tires than some others. So that early pit stop makes a little bit more sense. They can get a good stop and undercut, especially if they can make it come out in clean air, which is where I could see a longer stop either benefiting or hurting Williams. You know, if he comes out and if he pits a little, you know, kind of on schedule with most other folks, then if he comes out into dirty air, he could get held up for a lap or two.
Moffitt has closed that gap up on Cumber here, as he's about half a second behind. trying to make his way around Cumber so that he can start hunting down Williams up there, who's got a pretty hefty, almost 3-second lead on P2 here. Moffitt's going to want to get around.
I think if anybody can catch up to Williams, it's going to be Moffitt. He's definitely got the pace for it, and their lap times are very similar. Although so is Cumber. They've all got a fast lap of 35.3. So interested to see how
should be able to make a move here. With that Mustang speed, getting in front before turn 13 here, should be able to make it stick. And now he has clean air to start putting down some hot laps here to try to at least close that gap up to Williams before the pit. Now, with how long we know Williams likes to stay out before pitting, we could see an undercut attempt here by Moffitt, with only being 3 seconds behind. He's a little far for little bit far for an undercut, but
yeah, well,
could see that work out well for him.
I don't think we'll see him stop in the next 2 laps just because he spent that time and energy getting around Cumber. He's got pace on him. He's got to be feeling pretty confident he can drop him. If I'm in his position, I would be hard pressed to probably pit before the 30. You know?
I would absolutely agree with you on that. As he makes a little mistake coming into there, and Cumber's looking to get that spot back, but not quite able to get it.
He's going to force Cumber wide. Out into the sausages there, cost him a little bit of speed. Wonder if that's going to come back to haunt him, at least karmically. Let's see. Looking at GTG, drop back to P11. He's got Rudderham and Taft on his tail. He's opened up the gap just a little bit to Rudderham. He's right on Johnston as well. Looks like Johnston is a lap driver though.
We have people saying in chat if you could try to bring up the deltas on screen. If you hit I believe the insert key should bring your deltas up.
I apologize, but that is not working for me.
I can't remember how to do it. I know you have to change your HUD, maybe F2, but I'm not sure. Wouldn't mess with it too much now. As Moffitt goes into the pit, followed by Cumber. Moffitt decided to go for that slightly early-ish pit, and Cumber followed him right behind. Sean Williams still out on track, putting down laps, so we'll see if this strategy pays out for Moffitt or not. See if he can kind of help him close that gap up at least a little bit after Williams makes his pit.
We're going to start placing bets on how long Williams is going to stay out past this point.
I'm going to guess.
Oh, that's his top bet.
I'm going to guess 22 minutes remaining.
I would say about the 25-minute mark.
I think I kind of think I'm with you on the 25-minute mark. He's got 2 lap traffic cars not too far in front of him, and if he stays out any longer, he could run into some lap traffic, so it might be in his best interest to pit before he catches up to those guys.
Yeah.
We got Aaron Anderson way back in 31st running the fastest lap of the race at a 1:34.7, so he's showing that, you know, he's got that pole pace, and he's using that to try to make up some time.
That's over 0.6 faster than anybody else has done so far in this race. So definitely interested to see if he continues that march up towards the top. You know, he is still pretty far back there, even after pit cycles are going through.
It looks like we have a drive-through for the 250 car. I believe that is 𝐂𝐨𝐫𝐿𝐼, unfortunately, back in P28. Just got himself a drive-through.
Oh, man.
That is rough. Tough break.
Roger Rodriguez looking to make a move on Rob Lacey here, I believe. Turn 13 on the outside of Lacey. Should have the inside coming into the last corner here. Gonna go for it. Should be able to make it stick coming into the final turn.
Lacey's
As
gonna check
Lacey
up and
dips
dive
off
in.
into the pits. Not a bad call for Lacey there.
No, it doesn't have to deal with the mental setback of losing a position. Can just kind of go in and mentally reset.
Sean Williams ran a 136.1 last lap, so he's not falling off pace too much of what he's been running. Best of a 135.3. Coming around, see if he'll dip into the pits this lap or if he'll stick it out for another one. And he's going around again.
Humber and Johnston seem to be still fighting it out back there. Only 5/10 between them, while Moffitt has a healthy 5-second gap over Cumber. So those guys are moving up, but still some battles going on down there.
Yeah, Johnston's really putting the pressure here on Cumber. Both finished their pits, both on fresh tires, so feeling a little bit bold. Stop and go 30 for the 975. That is the car of
That's Mertzen.
Mertzen. Unfortunately, stop and go 30. Probably speeding in the pits. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
it is a tough pit entry as well, because you have a tight left-hander and then a little bit of a straightaway.
Yeah, you want to spurt on the gas just a little bit,
Yeah.
but then you gotta lock it back down.
As Johnson does make the move on on Cumber there.
Looks like Williams has now caught up to traffic coming out of the pits, so maybe we see him pitting this time by.
You know, we
He was
speculated
not far
that.
off the pace.
We speculated that back at round 1 at Suzuka, and then he just didn't pit for a while.
And he started passing. He started passing blue flags.
I mean, you know what? If you're comfortable and you're enjoying your race, just keep vibing, I guess.
Yeah, he ran a 135.4. He's picking up the pace.
Yeah, he's doing a-okay. He's there. The McLaren's probably, I think, kinder on tires.
Very much good. Very good on tires. Yeah.
He's not really had to do any battling in the last 15 minutes. I'm assuming he probably knows kind of how a lot of these guys act as blue flags, and has said, okay, it's these two guys. Cool. Yeah, I've got no issues with them. They're good.
Got a little fight for P35 between Bustrick and 𝐉𝐸𝐺. Bustrick really was putting on the pressure on 𝐉𝐸𝐺 there, coming into those last few corners. As 𝐉𝐸𝐺 just came out of the pits from his drive-through, Bustrick's really running it real wide.
You might not leave me space, but I'm gonna make it.
Goes for the inside on 𝐉𝐸𝐺. Should make it stick here. Really risky move through the grass there.
Well, risky in the sense of it's easy just to catch a weird bump and lose it, but also, I wonder if that gets reported, and I wonder what the ruling on that is, since he went off track to pass.
Technically, he did make the pass off track, so we'll see what they say about that.
No, of course, I don't know if it'll get reported or not. In all honesty, it's something that I probably wouldn't report if I'm in 𝐉𝐸𝐺's position.
No,
to me that's just good hard racing.
Johnston looks like he's trying to make a move on Dutton here. Does make the pass stick on Dutton for the spot of P4 here.
Looks like Cumber's going to be trying to come through as well.
Now, I mean, next in Johnston's sight would be Moffitt, but you're talking about a 15-second gap here. So at this point, Johnston's looking at just holding on to that P4 spot. Most likely, unless something happens to Moffitt, not going to be able to catch that P3 podium position. But if he can hold on to this P4, keep Cumber and Dutton behind him, that's his goal for the rest of the race here, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know offhand what the typical pit times are looking like. So I don't know if Williams is going to have enough of a clearance in order to make this work. Over Moffat, who's going to inherit P2 once Tatro pits. Looks like Cumber's just sitting there behind Dutton, not really trying to force a move yet.
Yep. Got plenty of race left. Just pick your spot.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, me and Rob are incorrect on our guess. It's up to you now because Sean Williams sticks out for another lap.
Yeah,
I mean,
he could push this to 15 minutes.
I gotta give it to him. He just ran a 135.9. In these high temperatures, being able to hold on to your tires for this long takes some really good driving. So, I mean, the fact that his tire management is incredible for how fast he is as well.
Absolutely.
Looks like Dutton has a drive-through for track limits there in 5th place. That's our first drive-through for track limits of the night. So, unfortunately, he is out of the battle there.
Oh man, I was
That's
just
gonna
looking
give,
for car 10-2.
Yeah, that's going to give Cumber a fight with Johnston pretty much. So now, at this point, Cumber's hoping Dutton does his drive-through right now. Get out of the way so he can try to get up to Johnston, because Cumber is a little bit a higher pace than Dutton right now. So
yeah,
if I was Cumber, I'm really praying that Dutton decides to take his drive-through right now, and give me some free air to catch up to Johnston, because it seems like Foster is starting to make a little bit of ground here on Cumber, and there goes Dutton into the pits. So Cumber should have himself a little bit of free air, hopefully try to get a little bit of gap on Foster and not have to worry about defending, and can worry about trying to close that gap up to Johnston there.
Yeah, you hate to see these drive-throughs, but that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. With as much as the limits are inviting, you really got to be careful with them.
You know who didn't dive into the pits that lap?
Williams.
Mr. Williams. As he continues around for another lap. We've also got further down the field, Anderson has caught up.
Oh man,
he has made some ground up.
Yeah, well, he's still sitting on a best of 34.777.
Yeah, going from being a lap down, having to unlap him, to working himself back up to P25, try to gain some more points, is a great drive by Anderson. Really wish we could have seen what he could have done in the beginning early on there if he stayed up front without incident, but
well, and he ended up taking his pit stop early on too, didn't he?
Yep, pretty early. So
yeah,
we'll see how he holds on to those Mustang rear tires towards the end. Yeah. Now, we did have confirmation in the chat. We were wondering about what happened to Boostrick there early on, since he did put down fastest lap really early, and he does have pace. He did start from the pits, but that is because his game crashed after qualifying, so he got automatically put into the pit start, which is unfortunate for him.
I honestly, I would go beyond saying that's unfortunate. I would say that's actually tragic.
Very tragic. But he's made up some spots for himself, and he's been driving pretty well for, trying to get that out of your head. As GTG looks like he's trying to make a pass on Taft here. Not able to quite make it stick for that P15 spot.
Now GTG, is he trying to pass Taft, or is he trying to get back around? Did he already lose that position?
I believe he's trying to get back around.
I think you're right.
I mean, you were almost spot on with your 22-minute mark guess with Sean Williams. Goes in the pits at the 21:30-minute mark, which basically, that's the 22-minute because he had to make it to the pit stop. But what is that, a 40-minute stint in 90 or 32 degree weather is that is a bold call, but he makes it work for himself.
Hey,
I love it.
Don't change what works, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. And I mean, he was putting down fast laps, so he should be able to come out in front of Moffitt here. Moffitt looks like he's got 2 more corners to go. Coming into the last turn here onto the front straight as Williams is...
Oh, yeah, Williams, I think, will get out and be okay. Although he won't have a huge gap.
It's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Moffitt's coming into turn 1 here. He might not get it.
Oh, man.
Moffitt's going to be in front.
Nope.
They're going to come out just about side by side.
Side by side. Williams gets in front just by a little bit. On fresher tires, but now this is his outlap. He's going to have to take it a little bit calm to not, especially in this high heat on your outlap.
Not that calm, though. I mean, we had the same thought there at Suzuka, and I pretty much right on race pace, maybe half a second.
I mean, I can't make a judgment call for him because he knows how to manage tires for some reason. He's just so good at managing these tires, but usually on your outlap, especially in this high heat, you push too hard, you can worry about graining the tires pretty quickly. So, I mean, Moffitt's all over him. He's going to have to push a little bit if he wants to stay out front, and then once he gets some heat into these tires, he's going to have fresher tires by the end of this race, so that's going to be could be a deciding factor as Moffitt with that Mustang speed is all over the back of his car. As long as Williams can stay in front of Moffitt, especially on these long straightaways towards the end of the race, I know the Mustang is not very good with tire degradation, especially the rear tires. Williams will have some really fresh tires at the end of the race that Moffitt won't, so as long as he can hold it together, he should be looking pretty comfortable here.
Well, and the other place that McLaren seems to do really well is it generates a ton of aero grip, and that works extremely well at these flatter tracks like Misano, where you can really not have to worry about curbs so much. So if he can stay in front, fresher tires and more grip, he'll have it. I mean, you can see in these couple of, these handful of turns, he stretched that gap back out just a little bit. Now he's got these couple of straights coming up here, where he'll probably lose a little bit, so he needs to really maximize his exits. But
Steve Foster is all over the back of Cumber here, looking to try to make a move for that P4 spot.
Yeah, filling up his mirrors.
JP Johnson's using this as a way to try to build his gap a little bit on Cumber to really solidify that P3 spot, that podium spot here. Now that Cumber is having to worry about defending off Foster.
Oh, and that's a drive-through for 112. That is Anderson.
Oh, no, Aaron.
His night goes from bad to worse.
Oh, man. You hate to see that. I think we got to check in with Cumber here. Stay on this. Oh, and Foster's going to come up the inside here. Control that through 12, 13.
Does he make it stick, though? He should have the inside coming into 14.
Yep,
makes the pass stick on Cumber.
Can Cumber respond, though?
Looks like we have a battle going on for 17th through 20th place. Those guys are all really close together. Robichaud, Greer, Rutherham, and LP very close together.
Looks like Anderson just dispatched cab, but he's still going to have to serve that drive-through. Back in P23.
That is unfortunate. All that time trying to get around him, and unfortunately couldn't make it stick.
Well, and that's the tough thing with this track too, is how long the pit lane is. Granted, it isn't any spa, but it takes up a ton of time. You're sitting there like, come on, just let me go.
Yeah, a drive-through here is detrimental to your race. Giordano and P8 looking to try to make a move on Kevin Johnston here. All over the back of him. Giordano, great race by him from having an incident, working his way. I think he was all the way back in almost P14, 15. Working himself back up into a P8 spot, top 10. Very good drive by Giordano here.
Absolutely great recovery, and a great drive by Johnston too, because if I remember right, it was Moorhead in 15 and Johnston in 17th or 19th. So to climb up to
Kevin
P7.
Johnston. We do have the 3 Johnstons here.
Johnston, Johnston, and Johnston. I thought I said Kevin, but clearly I didn't.
Yeah, no, we gotta. It's just the Johnston. Could be anybody, you know. Could be P8. Could be P3.
Could be Johnston. Could be me. Could be Rob. Never know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, Johnston. We're all Johnston.
It's the Smith of SRA.
Johnston is one.
Here,
Johnston is life.
Here in D4, we are Johnston. We are Venom. We are Johnston.
We're something, that's for sure.
Drive-through for 36. I did not see that earlier. He's on his second lap of it.
That's Rudder.
That is.
That's
Is that his second one?
I don't think so.
No, that's his first. That would be his first.
Greer's starting to catch up to the back of 𝐉𝐵𝗺𝗀.
Oh.
Thankfully, he doesn't really have to worry about Rudder behind him too much, since he's going to have to pit at some point and serve that drive-through penalty.
Yep. Johnston's going around flashing his lights there. Wonder if that might have been an accidental flash. Doesn't seem like he's really got anyone in front of him.
Look, Ma, I'm on TV.
He knows.
He's doing this all for the spectacle.
Looks like as Giordano was fighting with Johnston, that allowed Jacob Hall to gain a little bit of ground on Giordano as well. So now Giordano's not only looking ahead to make a move, but also looking behind to defend.
It looks like Taft spun out back there on the back section of the track,
Yep.
and is losing quite a few spots. He was right there in front of GTG, and he's going to drop all the way back to 20th place.
Yeah, right there in between 13 and 14. About the only place I think we've seen anyone lose it tonight, knock on wood.
Caleb Tenney here, kind of all over the back of Lacey.
Looks like Giordano might be, he's having a look, but he's not going to quite make it yet.
He might have it. Johnston went a little wide. Johnston will have the inside of this next turn. Giordano's going to be looking. He wants to get a real good exit here to keep up with that speed of the Mercedes down this straightaway.
BMW of Hall on the inside.
Oh, it's going to be a little bit interesting here for Giordano coming into 13.
It's going to give
door to door with Hall.
It's going to give Johnston a good amount of breathing room too.
Hall's looking at the inside here. Makes the
like
move
Hall's
on
gonna get by.
Giordano.
Yep, that's going to be Hall on the way through. He had a good pace early. Did he get involved in a tap with GB3 when he lost it, or?
No, he went around. Him and Williams went around together, made it clean through that GB3 incident.
Gotcha. I don't recall.
I think he just took a little bit longer in the pits when he stopped for his pit stop, because he was up there with Williams and Moffitt, and when he came out after the pit cycle was done, he was down in 12th.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So I didn't recall having seen him be involved in anything. So, looking at Greer really starting to put some pressure onto 𝐉𝐵𝗺𝗀.
And a quick note on our leaders while we're watching this battle. Williams has started to pull a little bit of a gap on Moffitt, over 1 second now. And I'm also seeing Williams run a couple tenths faster on his lap times than Moffitt is. So that long stint and fresher tires are definitely an advantage for Williams.
Absolutely, and it looks like most of the top 5 is actually in the 34s for their best laps. Johnston with a real heater at a 34.8. Williams sitting at a 34.9. Moffitt at a 35 flat. Certainly some spicy times we're seeing here in the heat.
Jacob Hall's starting to put the pressure on Kevin Johnston here a little bit.
Yeah, he's making a strong recovery.
This pack, Giordano's sticking right with him though.
Yep.
At this point, Giordano's probably thinking he wants, he's using Johnston here to keep up with Hall, hopefully Johnston is kind of it's not even slowing down Hall, but causing Hall to have to battle a little bit so that can keep Giordano in the fight here.
Yeah, and I'm sure Moffat would love to see Hall get around, and Giordano as well certainly would benefit his championship fight. Again, Moffat sitting at 111, Johnston sitting at 100 points right now.
Garrity makes a pass here on Matisse as Matisse makes a mistake, but Matisse gets it back together. Able to hold on, but Garrity and Matisse come together. Garrity gets spun out into the wall. Can't hold it together. Come back on the track. Oh, hold your brakes.
Ooh, that was sketchy.
No, that was bad.
He's
That was
got a
close.
good gap.
Nope. Man, they looked like Matisse and Garrity, they came around. They were just door to door and looked like a racing incident. Nobody really issued. They kind of came together, and unfortunately Garrity got the wrong end of it due to the fact that that Bentley is an absolute tank.
Looks like we have another drive-through lower down the leaderboard, Rodriguez, with the drive-through penalty. So this track definitely getting the better of people tonight. I think that's our third or fourth drive-through penalty for track limits.
And Hall's gone through. He's gotten around Johnston. Giordano's closed right up on the back there as well.
Oh, Johnston makes a mistake.
Hall's wide too. Keeps it
They
up
all
tidy,
lost
though.
it a little bit there.
That's going to let Giordano through, though. Don't know that Giordano's quite got the pace to keep up with Hall, especially while keeping the NSX under control.
And trying to hold off Johnson,
Yeah.
defending on Johnson. It's going to be a tough ask for that NSX of Giordano there.
It is, because the NSX is a little, let's say, underpowered.
A little, as we're coming into, as Giordano's making a look on the inside of Hall here, gets a better exit out of that turn.
Just as I say,
looking
it's
on the
down power.
inside.
He's got a great run.
Great run. He's got the inside as long as he can get it to stick. Does he get a good exit out of here?
That's going to move
He
Hall
does.
really wide.
Hall should be able to have the inside. Hall's going to try to fight for that inside. Pushes Giordano wide. Giordano's going to lose it to Johnston, unfortunately. Tries to make the move stick and had to go extra wide, more wide than he wanted to, losing it to Johnston as Johnston and Giordano are door to door coming down into turn 12 and 13. Johnston makes the move on Giordano. Right back into order again.
Hate to see it.
Great battling here for 7th through 9th. Great fight these three guys have got going on.
Absolutely.
Clean racing, no contact, passing back and forth is just, you'd love to watch this kind of racing.
Absolutely. And as we check back in with the leader real quick, Williams has opened up a 3-second lead over Moffitt, who has
Coming up on
9 seconds over Jay Johnston.
He's caught up to lap traffic in the form of Anderson there, the holder of the fastest lap still at this point in the race.
Man. By about a full 10th, too.
I'm gonna have to say for me tonight, pick of the night, I'm gonna have to say this battle right here is the fight of the night, the battle of the night. These guys have just had some great racing, and
absolutely.
It looks like we have a drive-through for the, what was that,
864
Mr. Battle.
Jake Battle.
Man, you hate to see that.
This track is known for that, unfortunately. As we're coming down into the final few minutes here of the race, like we talked about earlier with these high temps, cars are starting to lose their tires a little bit. It's coming down to, you know, you might have to let off a little bit of pace to be able to hold your car together. We're going to start seeing maybe some things get a little interesting here as you can kind of start to see these cars sliding around a little bit more than they'd like to be. Missing apexes, going a little wide, getting a little squirrely on exits. It's going to make things real interesting.
Yeah, you got to run that fine balance of, if you can keep the pressure on, you can force the guy in front of you into a mistake, maybe even a drive-through. Get some good profit off that. But of course, I think most of these guys want to get it through on-track battling rather than penalty or anything like that.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing we talked about early on of this race. You don't know which of these drivers are on their third track limit, and one more is going to put them into a drive-through, which is detrimental at this point. So if you're on that third track limit, you might have to slow your pace up a little bit. There's just a lot going on right now with this track that everyone's just trying to fight to stay alive at this point as we're coming into the last 5 minutes here of the race.
And Hall going out real wide there.
Johnston got a little loose on the exit as well. Unfortunately, Giordano just didn't have the exit to capitalize.
Gotta take a quick look in with this battle between Griswold and Cumber. This Griswold looks like he's been moving up. He's all the way up to a P5. Cumber, I don't know that he's going to be able to respond.
Drive through for the 173 of Stefan Buckley.
Oh man!
Under 5 minutes to go. That's just it's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, that's just insulting, honestly.
Stephen Dutton looking to make a move on Garrity into turn 13 as they come real close together here, and Dutton makes the move past on Garrity here.
Yeah,
Williams was over a full second faster than Moffitt.
Yeah, I gotta think Garrity's not, his car's not feeling too great.
No, after hitting the wall 3 times, and yeah, at this point, you get shooken up. You got to get out of your own head. At this, your car's damaged. You're flustered. You know, at this point, it's just hold on to whatever positions you can.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Williams just pulling away from.
Giordano not letting Johnston take any kind of rest.
No, he's gonna be pushing over these laps.
That's okay. That's Buckley. That's the same one.
Yeah, he just did his first lap. Yeah, Giordano's not gonna let Johnston have an easy end of the race here.
No, he's got to work for it.
Jacob Hall here is using the fight with Johnston and Giordano to try to get a little bit of a gap, give himself a little bit comfortable finish here as he starts to pull away from these two a little bit here.
So we get to the end of the race, the field has gotten real spread out. Second gap between most of the cars here, save for a few battles such as this one between Johnston and Giordano.
It's like a good battle here between LP and Raf Cab. Coming out of turn 10, going down the long back straight here. Surprised we're not seeing the Lexus make up a little bit more. Oh, there we go. I was surprised we're not seeing it make up a little more ground as LP goes wide. It's going to hand that over to Raf. Giordano staying right on the back. Just a couple seconds adrift of them. Got another good battle going on between Mattisy and Rosenthal, it looks like. A couple of battles where they're holding off about half a second from the car in front.
Alright, we're on the final lap with Williams crossing the line here. So these guys are going to be all out to make things happen. Man, Anderson not letting Williams forget that, hey, I'm pretty quick. Even though I had to let you by, I'm still going to hang out up here.
Just because I'm not up there doesn't mean I don't have the pace. Understand I'm coming for you next week.
Yeah, that last lap, Anderson ran a 35.6 and Williams ran a 35.9. So Anderson is actually running faster than Williams. Unfortunately, not fast enough to stay out of range for a blue flag. So really just in his benefit to stay behind Williams and not cause any more trouble than he has to.
Yeah, you never want to be the reason for ruining a leader's race.
Yeah, I did look it up real quick, and this will be Sean Williams' first race win of the season. He actually finished P2 at Suzuka.
Oh, was that
Behind Moffitt.
See, I thought Williams finished crossed the line first. Was that maybe a post-race penalty of some flavor?
It might have been, but yeah, it's showing results as Moffitt first, Sean Williams second. As Sean Williams, Anderson makes a pass on Sean Williams coming into the last turn here, but that'll be a first season win for Sean Williams here at round 3 of Misano Division 4. Great race by Sean Williams. Just put it on a absolute show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just an absolute masterclass of driving here at Misano.
Justin Moffitt coming into P3, followed by Johnston crossing the line of Moffitt P2, Johnston P3, Foster P4, Griswold rounding out your top 5, Cumber 6, Jacob Hall with a beautiful fight between Hall, Kevin Johnson, and Giordano as they go 7, 8, 9.
And they'll be followed by Mattisy and the Bentley rounding out the
your
top 10. Oh, you love to see it.
Yep.
He's a mean one.
Garrity able to hold on to a top 15 after his little incident there at the end. Robichaud and another Bentley coming into P16, followed right behind in the Porsche of Thomas Greer. Sean Taft followed behind in the Lamborghini, finishing up P18. Scott Johnston 19th, and Rafael Cabrera will be rounding out your top 20 in the Lexus. Man, what a...
Still gonna get that extra point for the fast lap, and he wanted to make sure that everybody knew how fast he was.
He'll be getting 2 extra points. He'll be getting pole position and fastest lap here. So great run by Anderson. You know, to unfortunate start, unfortunate situation. Got to drive through as well, but worked himself back up into some points here.
Yeah, great recovery for sure. A little unfortunate, well, I say a little unfortunate, really unfortunate to see how it all played out for him. But I'm happy to see Sean Williams getting the win there. Super nice guy, and he earned it. He kept it clean the whole round, whole race, and he pitted exactly when I wanted him to, you know?
Yep. Well, man, that, I gotta say, great race overall, from action from beginning to end. The start of that race, the top 5, the passing, the battles, they were fighting hard from lap 1 to lap 5, just battling nonstop. I think we saw almost 6 passes in the first 3 laps in the top 5.
Yeah,
unfortunate situations. There's a couple unfortunate situations, you know, through some people's races askew. Other people's got to you know, benefit from it a little bit, but man, that was awesome. And then that last stint there, Giordano, Kevin Johnson, and Jacob Hall just absolutely going at it. What an awesome race to watch.
Absolutely. I was so happy to see everything stay mostly clean. Most of the injuries out there on track were self-inflicted, which, you know, always unfortunate to see them happen at all, but definitely better to see it self-inflicted rather than someone doing a big oopsie.
I'm going to pull up Sean Williams here, see if we can get him for an interview. Sean Williams, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You are in the D4 commentators booth. Congratulations on the P1 finish there. I believe that's your first win of the season. Awesome race from you there. You put on another masterclass. Talk us through your race there a little bit.
Yeah, no, thanks. It was a blast. That first few laps were wild, and I don't know who I got into. It was a Ford Mustang, but we made some contact. I got spun around and then had to drive back up, and it was interesting. I don't know who that Mustang was. I don't know if did you guys see that on the stream?
Yes, I believe that
Anderson.
was Anderson. Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm sure you guys saw this, but he let off and let all those cars go by and then let me go by to redress. And I have to be honest, like, I feel like that saved my race, because if he didn't do that, I would have been fuming and I would have been so angry and so mad. But there was a moment of zen going down that backstretch when I saw him do that, and I was just kind of like, oh, the world is a good place. So I honestly, I'm sure he's going to hate to hear that because he was battling for the lead. But that was a real, stand-up move by him.
Yeah, I mean, one of the talks of the race tonight was your pit stop strategies. You are a late pitter. You love that first long stint. And we were wondering tonight with these high temperatures, if you were going to be able to do that again with, tire degradation being so bad with these high heats. But somehow you seem to be able to manage your tires so well. And even down all the way to the 22-minute mark, you were still putting down fast laps. Talk us through, did you start to lose your tires? Were they feeling good? And how was it with the heat out there?
Yeah, no, it was hard. It was definitely hard, and it was something I had to manage. I got lucky towards the end of the first stint because I caught the back of the field and was getting a tow down that long backstretch, so that was helping. And my delta would go go green, and then I would be able to take it easy through the last basically 4 corners, and so that helped a lot. I don't know if I'd be able to do that if I didn't have that toe going down the backstretch. And the whole time I was worried the blue flags were gonna bail, and they didn't. So that helped. But yeah, just got and when I got into the second stint and Moffett was coming, I was sweating and I was doing breathing exercises to try to keep my cool, playing around with traction control, trying to get any advantage I could, and that was intense.
I mean, it was a masterclass drive from you again. Great call on the pit strategy. You came out right in front of Moffett, just like you wanted. It was a beautiful race from you. You guys got anything for him?
No, not really. I think you asked all the high points. I know it had to be a stressful race inside the cockpit because it was a little stressful out here where we were up until you came out of the pits and you were able to gap Moffett. We were praying for you, man.
Thank you.
We got Nürburgring coming up next week. It looks like weather. We got some rain on the forecast. How do you feel about rain driving? You're comfortable with it? You're gonna have to put some work in to get better at it. What are your outlook on next week?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel really good in ACC in the rain. However, I actually don't think I've turned a lap at the Nürburgring in the rain. It's just not one of those tracks that I think I found myself in either an open lobby or any of the Sim Racing Alliance lobbies. So I need to put some practice in, but it's a tough course. I think obviously that chicane in the third sector will be really tough. People are going to make a lot of mistakes. But I'm looking forward to it. I genuinely enjoy the rain races. I feel like a few other drivers start to rise to the top, and it kind of is an equalizer. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Can't wait to see what you can do out there next week. Good luck, and hopefully talking to you in the booth again after the race.
Agreed, and thank you guys for everything you do. It's always a blast to watch us back. I know you're taking your free time, and it's awesome. It's literally amazing.
Well, thank you, dude. It's great. Well, it's great to watch it. It's great to be able to commentate on it. Y'all put on a great show for us.
Absolutely. And 𝐂𝐫 would kick me out of Champion Motorsports if I didn't give a call out for Champion Motorsports. So this one's for you, 𝐂𝐫.
Absolutely. All right, man. Good luck next week.
Thanks, boys.
Congratulations.
I do not see Justin Moffett in the chat. He was RP2, correct?
Yes.
I do not see him to pull him up. Who did we have P3?
That is a really great question to which I don't recall the answer. It was not 𝐓𝐻𝐵. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on this, and I know who this is.
I don't remember. I can't remember. That fight at the end was so good that I can't remember.
JP Johnston.
JP Johnston. I do not see him in the chat either. So I am going to pull up for one last interview just for the fans. Giordano here to talk about that battle between the three of those guys to see how that went down. Alexander Giordano.
Oh, hello there.
You've been summoned to the D4 booth. We just wanted to talk to you about how your race went, but especially that second stint between you, Kevin Johnston, and Jacob Hall. Man, you guys were on screen, I would say, probably the majority of the second half of the race because you guys were going at it, and it was awesome to watch. Some clean racing, some good passes. But I had some questions with you were in the NSX, not a popular car, not the most used car here, and how did your race go, especially that last battle there between the three of you? How was it with the heat and the tire loss and all that?
I was actually quite fortunate, and I was able to pit a little bit late, so my tires were pretty good in the second stint, so I was able to keep up. But yeah, that three-way battle was chaos. I think we were at it for pretty much the entirety of the second stint, so good racing, good clean racing. Sadly, I came out at the back of the three, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch. I mean, like I said, you guys were on screen pretty much the entire second stint. It was just awesome to watch you guys go back and forth, and just wanted to get a quick word with you to hear what it was like from your point of view. But awesome race. I know you had some issues in the beginning, and you fought your way back up pretty high in the field. So great race out of you, especially with these high temps in the NSX and all that. So
yeah, great. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely.
Good luck next week. All right, I think that's going to do it for interviews for tonight.
All right, well, certainly some great racing. It was a little bit of a bummer to see the field spread out so much there towards the end, but still certainly had some good battles, like you were just mentioning there with Giordano, Johnston, and, well, one of the Johnsons, and Jacob Hall.
Yeah, great race. Rob, how did you feel about the race tonight?
Oh, I thought it was some great racing. I hate the bad luck for GB3. I think he had a really good run there early on, and same with Anderson. They both showed some pretty good pace there. So I hate that for those guys, but congratulations to Williams again and Moffitt. Both of those guys have quite good pace, and consistently good pace. So they definitely deserve this. Lots of good battles further down. Hall making up that ground that he lost after the pit stop, and the other Johnston holding off Giordano towards the end of the race there.
Yeah, it was a overall really exciting race to watch from beginning to end. I think that's going to do it for us. If you want to close us out, Big Daddy there.
Yeah, no, absolutely some great racing. I wanted to give everyone who tuned in a big shout out. Thank you all for tuning in. We're happy to put these events on for you and happy that we have a league to do this for. Until next time at Nürburgring, we'll see y'all around. Cheers.
See you.